prime candidate for all ACC honors at center, as well as the player responsible for the second most career snaps from scrimmage in Clemson history behind only Mitch Hyatt, and that is center Will Putnam. Y'all fire away with questions whenever you're ready.
I guess, Will, how much is it setting that your career's wrapping up here? It's the last South Carolina game.
Yeah. I think it's a surreal moment for me, especially just playing my last home game, and just how everything went down. Playing a good opponent, beating that opponent, and then being able to kind of get carried across the field in my last home game. It was really special. The fans really came out. That's probably one of the loudest games I've played in at home, and being my last game is really special. But being able to end it on just a great rivalry game. Probably one of the best, if not the best in the country. That's also really special too, and it's something that I know obviously we take seriously, our coaches and the fans, and really just the whole state does as well. So I know we're really looking forward to that.
So what the surfing thing, was that something you wanted to do, or was that spontaneous?
It was a little spontaneous, yeah. We were going, and Trent Howard, it was senior day for him too, and I just picked him up. And then just kind of threw him, and then he was kind of doing it. Then he asked me, and he got someone else, and they hoisted my big ass up, and I started doing the same thing. So yeah, it was spontaneous, but it was great. Yeah.
Well, you guys, obviously, it has been so long since you lost to South Carolina. Approximately how many days a year did you hear about that game since last year?
I would say this. It not as necessarily us as a program, because obviously it was a tough loss. Like right afterwards. I mean, it. I mean, coaches know it. Everyone knows it. But I would say for us, it's really just because it's just a big game for our fans, for the state, just the whole community. And just whether we win or we lose, you definitely know who won the last one, right? It doesn't matter what record, who won the most in the series or anything. Like, it just all depends on who won that last game. And, yeah, definitely. We lost the last one, and that's very well known. They made it known from just how that whole game went down. And that's why we're really just looking forward to this opportunity to kind of set the record straight and do the best we can, and that's try to win another football game.
Do you guys in your locker room or in the building have any sort of countdown or signage or anything that's there year-round like there was in 2014?
To the South Carolina game?
Yeah.
No, we don't. Now, granted, we do have a place for the Palmetto Bowl trophy. We have a little thing on the wall, kind of talking about the history of the game, of the rivalry, and stuff like that. But we don't necessarily have a countdown just for South Carolina. Now, we do have a countdown for just our season. So our countdown of all in commitment, that we have that outside of our team meeting room, and that's just kind of counting down towards just the end of our season. Now, granted, I guess our season does end on South Carolina, but it's not necessarily representing that, more so that, this is how many days that we have to be all in and committed to the task at hand throughout the season.
How do you explain how things have come together for this offensive line and running game in the last 3 games?
Yeah, I think it really proves how important momentum is. And even now, we still have guys that rotate in and out, like, Trent, like at guards, like Trent's run out there first, Harris is running out there first, but guys like Colin Sadler, Mitchell Mays coming in, doing a really great job, able to move guys around, mix and match is awesome. And then also it's great for us having just 2 really good backs back there too, because don't get me wrong, there's some times where they just make us right, and there's some times where we just make a hole so big it makes them right. So it's really there's a lot of synergy, and I think that's really important. But it's just really good to see us finally come together, that momentum. And, we always believe that, we can really get the ball moving, we can really run the ball, but it's different from once you do it and you can see it, you get results. And I think that's where we're at right now is, we believe we can, but we're also getting results, and that just makes everything easier.
I think the rules only allow 2 preseason scrimmages, like full-scale scrimmages. Is there something to the idea that with an offensive line, without as much good on good or whatever scrimmage situations during the preseason, that it could take some time for you to establish the continuity that you were just talking about?
Not necessarily, because I'll say this too. It's when we were in fall camp, our offensive line looked completely different, right? Like we had Marcus Tate, he was playing. Walker Parks, again, I mean, that's a guy who's sorely missed. I mean, we got guys stepping up doing a great job, but Walker Parks is sorely missed on the offensive line. And I think some of those, when he went down after the Duke game, you could kind of see some of those growing pains. When Marcus went down, you could kind of see some of those growing pains. So I don't really think it's necessarily us not getting enough reps, because even when we don't scrimmage, I mean, we're pretty much live every day as an offensive line. I think it was just a lot when it comes to the continuity that our offensive line just looked different. Guys who, were vets, who we were really counting on, they got hurt and stuff like that. And that's why it just shows the importance of younger guys having to always know that I'm just one play away, because you really are, especially in the offensive line when it's easy for guys to get hurt and so on. So I think that was the biggest difference.
You do so much mixing and matching. Does it make it a little more difficult for 5 guys to gel up front?
Not necessarily. I think it's just as long as you practice it, right? Like, I mean, if it's just the middle of the game and guys are playing that they've didn't practice at all, it can be a little bit more difficult. But, I mean, we practice with a bunch of guys going in and out. And, I mean, we're in the same meetings. I mean, we're running the same plays. Timing can be a little bit different, but that's why you practice. So usually once we hit game day, that's not necessarily as much of a deal. It's just goes back to the number one thing is, are you doing your job and can you do it at a high level? And as long as if people can do that, then it doesn't really matter too much.
Will, how much, or what can you say about the way Cade has improved over the last 3 games, and how much does that have to do with the way your offensive line is kind of doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's really settled in too. I mean, really just the whole team, and I think like he's a great example of that. Just kind of has our whole offense, like starting at Notre Dame, coming through, has really just settled in and started playing really consistent football. And I think that's great for him. I think us being able to get the running game going a little bit between the offensive line, the running backs, can kind of ease some pressure with him as well. Maybe at first we weren't really getting the running game going as much as we wanted to, and that puts a lot of pressure on him because it makes it a little bit easier on defenses to defend against us. So I think us getting that going has helped him out a little bit. But I think for him, just settling in and being the guy he can be. I mean, we've all seen him make incredible plays. And as long as he just keeps on doing that, which he is, we'll be in a really good spot. And I think Clemson football will have a really bright future.
First time you ever went to Williams-Brice
In Columbia, what did the older players tell you?
about the environment?
Keep your helmet on. What do they tell you?
Keep your helmet on, and that's something that has stuck with me ever since. So if any game at the end of the game, win or lose, I always keep my helmet on running off the field. Yeah, I mean, they got their net, and people are still throwing stuff, trying to get through it. I like it. I think it's a great environment. It's probably the best road environment I think that I've played in. Always loud. People are always there. People are always really nice, greeting you on the bus ride over. But yeah, it's awesome, and I think that's what makes college football so special, and just those rivalries and stuff like that. People being really passionate about that stuff. So it's always exciting.
Their student section is always packed out. They've got the white
Oh,
towels.
yeah.
Play sandstorm. Is that fun to play when it's all against you like that? When they're
it's
loud
awesome.
like that?
It's awesome. I mean, I think as a player, I mean, they're both awesome, but I really enjoy when people are booing you really loud. I think that's really fun too. I mean, I think that's just as fun as when people are cheering you on just as much. I love the boos. I think it's awesome. It kind of gets me going a little bit. Just in sandstorm, and, playing that at practice all week. It's just that week. It's awesome. It's what makes everything fun.
You have a favorite memory from that game a couple of years ago?
Yeah. I mean, not a big one, but just the 2021 that game. Because for me, I mean, that whole year, my ankle was bothering me, and I had a bad fever, and I was sick. My ankle hurt, but I played through that game, and we ended up getting a really big victory. And it was just awesome to be a part of that. It was great, and it was also another night game. I got a picture somewhere, but just holding that trophy with a couple of the other guys after, all that stuff we've been through, all the stuff I've been through. It was like, man, this is great. And that was another season too where we fell short of the ACC championship, and everyone was like, man, Clemson's done. They suck, all this stuff, and kind of being able to get that, it kind of really brought in perspective about everything. So that's what we're looking forward to do again this year.
Is there anything that you remember particular about
Which one?
The South Carolina.
South Carolina game. I mean, yeah, just being so close and losing. I mean, right? Like being so close. I mean, we had multiple opportunities to win the football game, and we just didn't execute it. And on those certain plays where we needed it, they got it, right? So I think it's definitely something that you flush it, but you don't forget it. And I think that's really, really important to do. Is you got to move on. You can't let it live in your head, but you can't forget it. Like, oh, I remember all of that. I remember my neighbors playing Sandstorm till like 3 a.m. So yeah, I definitely don't forget it. But I think moving on and how we're doing right now, I feel really confident. We're playing good football on offense.
Any questions for Will virtually? Anybody in the room?
Where do you live? Or where you're off campus, I guess?
Yeah, I'm off campus.
So you had a neighbor that's apparently.
Yeah. I live kind of over towards Central. Yeah. So yeah, all that, and it's just like, man, like I want to go knock on the door and be like, hey man, turn on. But it's like, you know what? Should have got down on the field. So I gotta sit here and just listen to it. That's how I look at it. Multiple. Yeah, it was going crazy. So it's like, we didn't get down on the field. So have at it. But next year, hopefully get the job done. And I don't want to hear any of that. So it was good though.
This is just happens to be the first time I've had you since the shoe explosion. What do you remember from that?
Oh yeah, I remember going over and then planting on my foot, and then my foot just started sliding really bad, and I thought for a second that I broke my ankle. So for a second there, I was kind of worried because then I can't walk straight, because in games when I get hurt or something, I don't really feel it right away because I'm just so amped up. But I'm starting to hobble around, like, oh man, not my ankle again. Like, I can't be having this towards the end of the season. And just the bottom of my shoe just peeled right off. And shout out our equipment staff, Nick Yaird, and our trainers, Dylan Barron, because it was like a NASCAR pit stop over there on the sideline. They had a chair, they already had the cleats, and they're both tying me because my hands and thumbs are all taped up, and they're putting on my shoes for me, and I was out there in another 3 plays, a total pit stop, and it was like NASCAR. It was awesome. And then I came back because those shoes were 2 sizes too big or whatever, and I just we're gonna play it. And then he came back, another pit stop, back on the field. It was pretty special. I wish there was film on that, because that's how you change out a shoe.
How many pieces of the shoe were there?
I mean, it was 2 pieces. It was the shoe and then just the bottom, and then you could just see my sock. Yeah, it was great.
You do? Go ahead.
Yeah, one other random question. If you were at a 40-yard dash with Nate Wiggins, how many yards ahead would you have to be to win?
I mean, realistically, I'm not the fastest guy. I would probably need to be at maybe the 20. Yeah, maybe the 20. If I'm really maybe feeling fast, maybe the 15. But yeah, I'm already not the fastest guy around, and he happens to be the fastest guy around. So yeah, I'd need a little head start.
Is he the fastest guy on the team?
I don't know who's the fastest, who isn't, but so far he's the fastest guy I think that's ever ran in a game. So that's what counts. I mean, at the end of the day, that play, he's the fastest guy in my mind. So that was an incredible play, and that's not the first time he's done that either. So I think that proves to show it's one thing being fast, we're running sprints and working out, and it's another thing to be fast doing that and translate it to the football field and football pads. And I'm pretty sure he ran over 22 miles an hour or something. Yeah, that's ridiculous. So.
Do you feel that the practices in preparation for this game are any harder than any other week?
No, not really. I mean, it really is just, when it comes to the practice aspect, it really is just another week. Now, opponent-wise and all the stuff outside of the facility, it's obviously different because, again, it's big for the community, just the state, because everyone, Clemson, South Carolina. But for us, it's practice, not really. I mean, this is week 11, week 12. It really is just you play your game, you rinse and you repeat. I have the same routine on Mondays, same routine on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so on. And that's how you have to approach it, really. If you want to have a successful season, that's how you have to do it. But I guess the only difference is just who we're playing, being our in-state rival. But when it comes to preparation, I mean, it's all really the same each week.
Anybody else? All right, appreciate you, bud.
Yep, no problem.